This is just AMZN on Monday, October 22nd, 2018. This is what happened today. Pre-market, we were gapping up from yesterday. Had a little bit of resistance here, broke out, came back to it, a little bit of an S-curve here, and then collapsed. Came right back down into the lows of Friday, broke back down below this support through this resistance here that we had retested. Looked like we were going to stay above with that wick. And this was a simple, get in above with a stop below, and it didn't work. But again, you could have, flipped the trade, and instead of, that being a bullish trade, have it been a bearish trade and get in below with a stop above. And that probably would have been 2 Rs down to the low down here. Now this also looks like an inverted head and shoulders that quickly broke out. I don't know what happened here, but whenever it moves this quickly, not all the time, but most of the time it moves that quickly, that far, it's going to take a while to retest. There were some bulls getting on here looking for it to retest quickly in 25 minutes and then continue on up, and that was not going to work. So it came back down again and had a nice little hammer here and chopped around a little bit and then reversed and came back down, and a lot of small candles in here, like 40 minutes, almost 60 minutes of just nothing, just going sideways, bouncing around, between $5 and $10 range. And then looked like it was going to break out again. If this area was holding as the retest of this resistance here, and it looked like it was holding, that was looks like that was going to hold as support and break out, and then it just retested, came back down again, stopping out everybody who was getting in bullish. Said they're stopped down here, and not only once did it do that, but it did it a second time here, came back into this level around 1780, which was the earlier resistance, and actually bounced there with 1 penny tweezer bottoms with a bearish candle with the low of 1783. I'm sorry, 1780 and 14 cents, and then the bullish candle here with a low of 1780 and 13 cents, and that ended up working as a bounce. But would have been hard to play that. It wasn't really bouncing off of a neckline or retesting a neckline here. It was retesting that level, which, it just didn't work out as a clear place for it to be a buy location. But this turned into a Morningstar reversal that paused and, made an inside candle and then broke out and then retested again, and then looked like it was going to continue on up and then just chop back down into the close, and now it's just been sideways after hours. So the interesting thing about this week is it's it's earnings week, and so the options are really expensive, like really expensive. So we're going to take a look at what happened here on this kind of move, and what you could have done, I guess, with some options that are really far away. So the options I want to look at are 1900 calls, and again, we are way down. We got up into 1809 again here. Actually, the highs are really similar. 1809.50 today and 1809.10 on Friday. So this one was a bearish candle, and today is a bullish candle. So not, kind of the opposite of tweezer tops, but had some similar lows too. So the low, let's just look at the daily. It's easier. So the low yesterday or Friday was 1753. And the low today was 1756. Now these two candles and their location remind me of back here. That's why I've got this zoomed out a little bit wider. These two candles, because they're below the 21, and it's very indecisive right here. And it's been a pullback, a little bit further of a pullback, just like we've had a little bit further pullback. Now this is already putting a double bottom, whereas this was just, pulling back and going sideways, a little bit of a double bottom with a higher low here. So this area here with this sideways would have been a little bit above this low, and that's not where I'm saying we're at. I think these two candles are actually in this first part of this low, but this was a nice little curve back down to the 21 that we were nicely below. I can definitely see that happening right here, and so I was looking for anything else that was so indecisive, and the only other candle I saw was this one. After this kind of bit of a pullback. And this is interesting too, because you had This kind of did this triple wave, or high and then a lower high and a lower high and then a pull back and then still make a lower high here. I felt like that was similar with a high and a lower high, but then this made a higher high and this made a lower high. So a little bit bigger range, but still just seeing some different, some similar waves down into this that we've got going in here and then into this one, but it just didn't get that high again. It's kind of like flipping this high, I'm sorry, this lower high and this lower high. But anyway, it seems like we're forming some indecision here. I don't know if that means we're going to stay in no man's land. And this, I keep calling this no man's land because there is nothing in this range. This is probably the widest range I've got recently, and we've been just chopping around through here. So it doesn't get any conviction moving. Like when we got into this area, we were moving up through it, stayed above it, stayed above it, stayed above it, broke on through it. That's what happened in this area. But in here we raced up through it before, pulled back and bounced, pulled back, bounced, and now this time we're just kind of hovering through there. So zoom out a little further. That's this no man's land is the widest I've had in the chart since probably here. But then I added some more lines in here. I just haven't done that in this. And I guess, if there is the potential that Amazon could pull back further into some of these other ranges, definitely into 1600s. But then, it could really rally. Or it could just break out from here and be more of a double bottom. And if we have some more bearishness come in before earnings, which I think is Thursday, what is it? Earnings 10:25 aftermarket. I think that's Thursday after hours. If we have some more bearish candles and then we gap up above, talked about this last week. If we gap up above this candle and this candle, it should be gone. It should just race higher. Much like today on the 5-minute had this kind of rally, that's the kind of thing we should see on the daily, having multiple days in a row, charging bullish, trapping so many bears, and squeezing them out. So if we come back into the 1900 call, so what's interesting about this is you can see the inverted head and shoulder pattern and then the breakout. And then the long wait as it pulls back. But look at what price it pulls back to. Right back into this neckline. So somebody could have been buying 15, with the neckline in mind, 15, or, had something set up for 1450, a nice round number, 15 by 14. Or if you want to, use a little bit larger R because the options are that much more challenging, maybe you've made a little bit, you can make your R bigger. 15 by 13 would have been below this inverted right shoulder here. But still, 15 by 14, you could have been doing here, or even wait for it to bounce there and then get in here, 16 by 15, or whatever this price is, 1575 by 1475 would have been $100, and then just ride that back up into a high like 18. That would have been 2R, 3R, something like that. That would have worked. As it went sideways through here, you could have tied up your stop, maybe not exit right at 18 and get out at 19, possibly even 20. It made a upper wick here, so that would have been a good place to get out on that body. And again here, just looking for a price range that it's moved through before. So that's the 1900 call. Now the 1700 put is the other one I wanted to look at, because even though, we may need to even go a little further, but 1700, the opening 5-minute candle had a range of 150. So again, if you had a little bit larger R because it's earnings week, or because your account has grown some, but in order to play earnings, you got to have a little more skin in the game. Unfortunately, it's just how it works. So, or you wait till later in the week as some premium has been dropped out, but it's still really challenging to do on Friday because the options are still just trying to go to zero. The out of money ones. So anyway, if we look at this candle and think, okay, we got a little bit larger R, there's a $150 range on that. Could have worked to get in on a breakout and a stop below the low. I can't even tell where the low is. Oh, you know what? I think the low is 29.50, and this came down a little bit lower. Yeah, so I don't know if that would have worked or not, just because of where that moved. Or could look for a retest at 31 and stop down at 30 or 29, and that would have moved up to few are pretty quickly on the move to the what became the head of the Head and Shoulders. You can see the Head and Shoulders here, and then that breakdown. What's interesting about this is the low it came into here of 22. It made again here, right at 22, and then it made again over here at 22.20. And so you could have been looking to buy off of that low on the option on the put. Buy at 22, stop at 20, or stop at 21 for $100 risk. Do that buy here and get out at 25, and that would have been 3R. That kind of move. Gotten out here, didn't come back down here. This just dropped around, but it came down here and went back up to 25. So twice after it made this initial low, you could have bought at the same price or really close to that same price. And it's just the way that the puts move. So the put here, the 1700 put, excuse me, 1700 put here was the same price here, and again the same price here. And so that's just the premium being sucked out slowly. First of all, on Monday, but also on earnings week. So we'll continue to take a look this week at what we can do. Maybe we'll move another $25 in on the options. So maybe we'll be looking at the 1875 call and maybe the 1700 put again. I can't edit. There we go. If we go all the way out to 1650, see what these values are at. Similar. All right. So, the low here was 1291, and the low here was 1250. So you could have bought 13 by 12. That would have worked. 13 by 12 would work. So same idea. It just wouldn't have moved up as much. That would have only been an R, and this would have been the risk reward is not there on this stuff. So looks like 1700 is the one to stick with for now on the puts. But we'll look at 1725. No, there's no volume at 1725. Looks like 1700 or 1750 have more volume. And then on the calls, let's see about 1875. A little bit of volume. This is really, really light through here, but may get a little bit more this week. But the issue with the volume is that the options are going to be really spready. So it looks like for this week, we're going to need to look at, so this is the 1850. So we're going to need to look at the whole number, or the 50s or the wholes. So 1850, 1900 on the calls, and 1700, 1750 on the puts. And then just depending on where the strike ends up working out, or I'm sorry, where the option, I'm not saying it right, where the stock price ends up in relation to that strike, and just play the candles accordingly. So it's something we're going to have to keep an eye on. If we're looking at this now, the 1850 call, this price where the 1900 call got down to the neckline, this one is a little bit above it. Didn't quite get into this range. Still would have been a good place to buy, or even buying on this candle. Let's see, you bought at 31 by 30 or 31 by 29. That could have worked here, but you wouldn't have really gotten the signal from it here. Maybe just something to watch out for, but it did actually get into that range on the 1900. But you can see how these are moving. They're only moving a couple $100 when it's doing something like this. This is just chopping lower on both the calls and the puts when this is what's going on. I mean, it made a little bit on the puts, but on a normal day without earnings, for this to have a move of $25, that option should have moved quite a bit more. So there's a lot of what is it now? I can't remember which of the Greeks it is. It's not theta, gamma, something. There's something that's keeping the value high for earnings. So anyway, hope this was helpful, and we'll continue to take a look at it this week. Hope you enjoyed this video. This is Just an AMZN. Thanks.